I'm back. Thank you guys so much for hanging in there during a hiatus. That was kind of random, but definitely needed to get my subscription box off the ground. I'll be talking about that more later in this episode. But I wanted to start 2022 off on the right foot. And I don't know what better way to do that, but talking about plans from last year and what we've accomplished and our plans for this year. So I'm going to be talking about my 22 for 2022 list and how you can make one of these and how it's just a really simple kind of like a goal setting list, but also just more of those intricate little things you want to fit into your year that really make a meaningful, well-rounded life. So let's get into it. Hey, glue sticks. It has been quite a busy, crazy few months. I have been working on my subscription box that is now launched. The January box is now in everybody's hands. I'm going to have an unboxing video in a couple days that you guys could go see on my YouTube channel. And I also have had just some crazy things happen, some personal things that I'm not going to get into, but also that we had a 48-hour power outage in Minnesota in December with crazy wind chills. We had some really bad storms. It was right around the time that all the tornadoes were going through different parts of the country, which is devastating. We had tornado warnings where we live. Thankfully, most people's houses were fine. We did have a lot of power lines down, and our whole city pretty much was out of power for 48 hours. And it was really scary and really hard. And I had all these boxes, and I was afraid my pipes were going to freeze and that like water would be everywhere. Like I was just very paranoid. We ended up staying in a hotel, and the hotel was really rude to us because we're local and just lots of things. But thankfully, power was turned back on. We've had some fridge issues. And then 4 out of the 5 people in our family had strep over Christmas. So that was lovely and wonderful. And we couldn't get medication for like 3 days because it was Christmas. So yeah, crazy few weeks, but I'm getting over strep. So I'm sure I sound a little weird, but I can actually talk now. I can actually stand up for long periods of time. So I'm feeling good. And I'm just so excited to be back with the podcast, back on YouTube, back on Instagram, and back to me. I just did not feel like myself for a while there. And it just feels really good to be back up doing what I love, helping other moms, helping other women, and just inspiring and giving advice and tips and helping you live your best life and balance work and life and everything in between and create balance that sticks. So I am on a mission, back at it this year. I hope to be very consistent with the podcast as well as YouTube. As you can see, if you're on YouTube, I am back to filming my podcast episodes. I just thought this is the best way. I tried both. I tried not posting them on YouTube, and I just think, why not have all of my content for the most part available on YouTube? But if you want to listen to the podcast in audio format in your podcast app, you can. But I just thought it was just easier to also put it up on YouTube as well as my other normal videos. So I also have a nice background now, and just working on making everything a little bit better while also doing a bazillion other things behind the scenes. So I thought it would be fun to share my 2021 for 2021 list, and then also share what I plan to have on my 22 for 2022 list. And so if you aren't familiar, basically it's exactly what it says. You come up with 22 different things you want to do for the year 2022. Now, these can be really, really small. They can be really big. It really doesn't matter. This list is just something to help keep you accountable and to motivate yourself to do some of the things that maybe you wouldn't normally do, or the things that you haven't gotten to, or just to check off things you already planned to do. But it's just nice to be able to check it off and have like a actual physical list, either on your phone or on a piece of paper that you can keep track of everything. And so I did this last year, and I really like this a lot better than like goal planning sheets, because I always start all of those at the beginning of the year. I think they're amazing. I love them. I've used different brands and I think they're awesome. I'm not knocking them, but I just found it to be too much with my planner and all the things. And then the year kind of happens, especially the last 2 years, like nothing has gone as planned in any way, shape, or form. And so it kind of sucks to fill out this beautiful book or these beautiful planning sheets, and then like the whole world shuts down, and you have to kind of throw all those plans out the window and kind of regroup. With this list, it's easy. It's simple. You can easily change it, but it's also more focused and smaller for at least the way I've done it. I don't have like 22 humongous things I want to do. That'd be really overwhelming. It's a lot of little things that I want to do that I never really kept track of before, because with the word goal, it feels like it has to be this big thing and then you have like smaller steps. Whereas this list feels a little less daunting and you can put smaller things on there. And I'll explain kind of what I've put on there, and hopefully this inspires you to make your own. And I would love on Instagram if you would tag me at Work Life Glue and show me your list if you listen to this and are inspired. I actually got the idea from Nicole at Begin at Home on Instagram. I will link to her in the show notes if you guys are interested. 2 years ago now is when I first made my list for, or I guess it'd be a year ago, I made my first list and now I'm working on my second one. So let's talk about 2021. If you are watching on YouTube, I literally just wrote out my list on like dot grid paper in my Filofax planner, and just really simple. Doesn't have to be fancy. Actually, it's better if it's not fancy because then it's less overwhelming. So I'm going to go through what I did for 2021 and what I accomplished. So very first thing, if you guys have been following me for a while, this time last year, I not only had a 3-month-old, but, and it, my oldest was in kindergarten and going through all the postpartum everything, but I decided let's switch up like all the bedrooms in our house and move our bedroom down to the basement and then switch all of our 3 girls into new rooms and paint and all this stuff. I don't really know what I was thinking. I'm grateful I did it because it's really helped with a lot of different issues, and I really like having this office set up that I'm in right now that I wouldn't have had we not switched everything around. But that was one. That was like a really big thing that I finished. We added a fence in the backyard next to our patio. We had to remove it the year before, so we had to add a fence. I did not get to painting my kitchen. We have lived here 7.5 years, and I've been meaning to paint the kitchen. I have had gray paint swatch on the wall for 7 years, and we still haven't gotten around to it. It's just not a big deal to us. You can't even really see the swatch, and honestly, it's like it's just a lot of like taping or being really careful if we don't tape. That kind of makes it daunting. So we have not done that yet. I wanted to check out 12 new parks this summer. We got the C word illness going around in June, and then I got a blood clot from that and was in the hospital. It was like this big thing. So that kind of put a damper on like a whole month of our summer. So we did not get to as many new parks as I had wanted, but I think we got to like 7 new parks. So I'm calling that a win despite everything that was happening then. Go on a getaway with friends. I actually ended up doing that twice this year. I've never done like an out of town getaway with friends ever. And I did it twice this year, which is pretty cool, especially since I still had my 3rd baby, which you would think would be harder to get away then. Just made it happen twice. Go on a getaway with my husband for the first time. We did that this year. Go on a no spend month. I didn't really have good rules about what that would actually look like, so I'm going to say I did not do that. I have plans to do something similar in the new year, but I need to have better parameters of like what that actually means, because I still have to spend some money like to feed my family and like if we run out of toilet paper and stuff like that. So did not do that. My goal was to finish the Every Mother program, which is a diastasis recti program. You can do it while you're pregnant and after you've had your baby. And I did not actually finish the program, but I've been checking my diastasis recti and it's mostly healed. So I'm just going to call that a win because I've started doing another exercise program. My goal was to read 12 books, which I basically did. I actually read through and 12 audiobooks. So I basically did like 24 books. I didn't finish every single one of those books, but pretty much. And I actually got through the entire Anne of Green Gables series, which I absolutely loved. If you have ever heard of Anne Shirley or watched the amazing Canadian version from the 80s with Megan Follows, I highly encourage you to read the books. They are so good, and I'm so glad I read them. It was just a wonderful thing to read and listen to over the summer. And it's just a huge accomplishment to me to say that I've read them all now. Something else I want to do was to print my kids' baby books, which is literally just printing out pictures. The problem is with my older girls is that I don't have them all perfectly stored. So I'd have to find some. So it's a little overwhelming to try to do this. So I haven't done that yet. I've done it for my 1-year-old because I literally just finished taking her photos, and I do like a little thing in like PicMonkey where I put a bunch of details about her on one side and then the picture on the other, and then I print it as an 8x10, and that's their baby book. So I still need to do that for 2 of my girls. And then something I really failed at that I'm kicking myself now, I wanted to stay on top of all of my record keeping for my business. I'm really, really bad at that. I need a better system, but it's just, I already have a lot on my plate. So trying to add and like fix a system that I don't really have a good system for takes a lot of time, and I don't have a lot of time. So I actually only did 1 day of record keeping. So now I'm going to really have to be doing a lot now for tax time, but we'll figure it out and I'll try to work on it better this year. I went to see my grandma, which was on my list. And then I want to do 31 days of workouts in 1 month. That was really ambitious considering when I made this list, I had just had a baby and I was not working out at all. So that did not happen. I've done it like 20 days of workouts in a month now. I'm proud of myself for that. So I should have probably gone a little less extreme, but you live, you learn. Another thing I want to do was to create 10 different products, meaning like online products that I would sell. But I'm calling that a win and a success because I didn't know at the end of last year that I would be starting a subscription box. I honestly don't really know how that even happened, or I know how it happened, but I don't know where the thought and all that, like what sparked the idea. But here I am. I've launched my subscription box, which has 6 products every month, and I've already well into working on March and April. So I'm going to say I created at least 10 products. So that I'm calling a win. Weaning off my antidepressants was on my list. So if there's like a medication you want to wean off of, add that to your list. I successfully did that. I feel really good. It's something I've been wanting and trying to do for years, and it's just been a really rocky road. Maybe I'll do a whole episode on that, but I do have an episode all about my postpartum depression journey, which is episode 2. I will link in the description. It's one of my favorite episodes I've ever done, and also the hardest and scariest to release, but I'm really glad I did. It's very vulnerable, but yeah, so I'm off antidepressants. I have been for a few months, and like 5 months, and I'm feeling, pretty good. And considering everything that's happening in the world, I feel like if I'm okay right now in a state of the world that is way different than a few years ago, I think, I'll probably be okay. I sure hope. I also wanted to take 3 courses or coaching programs with like business stuff. I did that. I wanted to do 6 out of the house dates with my husband. I did that, which I'm really proud. I wanted to go on 4 dates with both of my older daughters, and I did 3 with each of them. So I'm calling that a win considering all the illness and everything that happened this year. And my last one was to go on a family vacation. And we did that. We went to a little farm for a week in June, and it was lovely. It was the Stars Hollow Farm, which I'm a huge Gilmore Girls fan. So that was really, really cool. So that was everything on my 20 for 2021 list. You can see it's not like just goals. Like it's not just these like big business goals or personal goals. It's like smaller things. Some of them are big. So what do I have for 2022? Okay, so for 2022, instead of doing a 12 books and 12 audiobooks, I'm just going with 12 books. Hopefully I'll read more than that with audiobooks mixed in, but I just haven't been able to fit in a lot of audiobooks lately because I've really ramped up with everything I'm doing. This summer, I was kind of taking a break from a lot of content and focusing on my subscription box, and so I had a little bit more time. So I think 12 books is doable. If I can do more, great. A few books that I want to read or finish. I'm reading a book called Will to Murder. I'm like halfway through. It's about the Glenn Sheen murders in Duluth, Minnesota. I went on one of my girls' trips to Duluth and found out there was a murder there. It's really sad in the 70s. Actually, an adopted daughter murdering her mother who adopted her. It's horrific, but very interesting. So I'm reading that. I also want to finish the Mama Bear Apologetics. I'm reading with a book club of homeschooling moms. It's not a homeschooling book, but it's a Christian book about like teaching your kids about Jesus and truth and how to defend your beliefs and what to do when your kids question and how it's really good to question and a lot of logic and things like that. I really think it's good. I need to finish Mere Motherhood. And just some other like educational books I've been reading about homeschooling. So I'm excited to do that. I want to lose 30 pounds. I was like debating if I should actually put the pounds that I want to lose or some other metric. But it's the truth. I want to lose 30 pounds. And so I listed that there. I'm going to be working out. I've been working out till I got sick. Trying to do 5 days a week. I'm only doing like 20, 25-minute workouts, but it's what I can fit in. Trying to eat really healthy, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully I can, get there. Another thing I'm going to be doing is redoing my soon to be 7-year-old's closet. So she has like 2 closets in her room. They're like smaller, and one closet has her clothes and the other closet is just bare. And so we're going to add some shelving for things and then also add like a little reading nook. So that's going to be for her birthday in February. So that's on my list. So if it's like something you're going to do, add it to your list and then you can check it off. So it doesn't have to be like all brand new things. It can be things that you've been planning on doing. Something we did over Christmas break was we went to see a play. My 2 older daughters, my mom and I, we went to see The Best Christmas Pageant Ever, which we also read the book of as a read aloud leading up to that. So it was really fun, Christmassy, a great message, very funny, and it was really a cool experience for them to see like how a book can be taken and adapted into a play. And so I, having gone to a play for the first time in a long time, I rekindled my love for that. And so I really want to go to 2 more plays in the new year, whether with my husband, with my kids, like I don't really care. I just want to go see 2 plays. I also have, again, 6 dates with my husband. If we can do more, great. But I think 6 is doable. I put 12 parks on there. I didn't put 12 new parks. I want to go to at least 12 different parks. New parks now is harder. Like we'd have to drive further, which gets overwhelming. So I'm trying to put stuff that I can actually attain on here. I want to do 1 vacation in the Twin Cities of Minnesota. So that's a pretty easy thing we could do over the weekend and go to like, I don't know, there's some indoor water parks. There's Mall of America. There's Crayola Experience. There's like lots of like kid things we can do. It's a fun thing to do like in the winter. When you're indoors more, just go see attractions that are inside. And then I also want to do 1 vacation out of state. I don't know where, I don't know when. It may not be very far. It could be like Wisconsin or Iowa, which are just like an hour or 2 away. But at least we're getting out of the state and I can check that off. This year, I want to visit my grandma twice instead of just once. So I put that on there. I put painting the kitchen on there again. So if you don't succeed, try again. Put it on your list for the next year. And then I want to use my travel points for a trip. So this may like double up on, one of the previous ones that I had. But I started paying for things with a travel rewards credit card and then paying off the card so that we can have points for traveling basically for free. And I want to use my points because I have a bunch of points now and I want to try it out and see how it works. I also would like to go on a business trip, big or small, probably small. And that may just be a day trip up to different like wholesale markets to see different vendors in my state that I might use for my subscription box. Or it might be like a conference if they're doing those, that's like a 2 or 3 day thing and I fly out. I don't know. I think that would be really fun. I've never done that and it's something I really want to do in the new year. I put record keeping on there again, record keeping for 12 months or get somebody to do record keeping for me is a goal. If I can get to that point of being able to outsource that is going to be like the first thing I outsource because it's just a huge weight off my shoulders once that's not on my shoulders. I am doing the 100 Morning Meltdown workout series on Beachbody On Demand with Jericho. fellow redhead, love her. And I am like through one of the 5 phases. So I want to finish that. That's my goal. Which also goes along with the weight loss. But just to say, I've completed a program. It's been so many years since I've actually stuck with working out consistently that I'm just, more than anything, I just want to be consistent. I have a goal. I'm not going to share what the goal is, but I have a goal of reaching a certain amount of subscribers to my box, different women I can bless, different women who can be part of my community to help each other. And it just lights my heart on fire. So I do have some business goals on here. Number 17, 18, and 19 are all to go on 4 different dates with each of my 3 girls. Now that my little one is 1, by next summer, she will be 2 in August. And so she's, old enough that we can start going on dates. She's not going to fully get it yet, but I want to start that. Even if not fully for her sisters to see that I'm being consistent with all 3 of them and that we're not like neglecting one. They understood when she was a baby, like, what am I supposed to do with her on a date? But now that she's getting bigger, I think it's really important. I also, number 20, put printing off their baby books. My 2 older girls, I put that back on there so that I could try to do that this year. I also put 1 no spend month, but I need better parameters. I know Nicole from Begin at Home, who I got this idea from, does she tries not to buy certain things all year. Like I think she's doing wrapping paper and paper towels, but I try to think of some things that I think I could actually be successful with. Like I could put wrapping paper on there, but I never buy wrapping paper. So it's not really a challenge for me. But I was just having a really hard time thinking of something, and I'm really bad at remembering stuff like that. Honestly, I have so many little things in my head all the time that I'm sure I would fail just because I simply forgot. Not because I, wasn't challenging myself hard enough, but just because I truly forgot. So I need to have better parameters for a no spend month. I think if I said I'm not going to buy this kind of thing, this kind of thing, this kind of thing for a whole month, I can stick to that. But a whole year of not buying something, I know my brain will forget. So I need to put brain exercises on there or something. I don't know. And then for my very last one, I'm just leaving it blank. I like to leave room for ideas as things pop up over the year. So that is my 22 for 2022 list. As you can see, pretty simple. Nothing too crazy. I have some business goals on there, reading goals, personal goals, but also just random things I want to make sure I get done or I want to do. Things I already have planned to do, but now I can check them off. I just think this is a really 22 things seems like a lot, but when you really try to narrow it down to smaller things, it's actually attainable, but also meaningful compared to this one giant goal of I'm going to start a new business and lose 75 pounds. If you have all these humongous goals, it can be overwhelming. I like that a lot of these things are actually the smaller steps of those goals. My goal might be to, be closer with my family, and I have all those dates on there. So it's kind of the smaller steps you're putting in a list, and there's a bigger goal attached to it, but you're not seeing the bigger goal. So it's not quite so overwhelming. I hope this gave you some inspiration. And if you want somebody to help keep you accountable and help you reach these goals, I would love if you would consider joining my subscription box and subscribing, or there's also a community only option if you just want to be part of the community and you can work on different areas of your life together with a bunch of us women on Facebook. I would love to have you as part of that group. I will have information in the show notes. As always, thank you guys so much for listening and watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.